In today's video, we're going to make apple pie. Now, apple pie is one of my two favorite pies, the other being pumpkin. This pie will be put together in three parts. First the crust, then the filling, and then we'll put it all together and put it in the oven. What you'll need for the crust are 2.5 cups of flour, 3/4 cups of shortening, 6 to 7 tablespoons of cold water, and last of all, a teaspoon of salt. For the filling, you'll need 1 cup of sugar, 1.5 tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons of butter, a half teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a half teaspoon of nutmeg, and 8 large tart apples. Today I chose some Granny Smith apples. Before we get started, go ahead and set your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we'll get started on making the pastry dough. And as far as utensils and other equipment that you'll need for the pastry dough, you'll need a bowl of some sort, something to mix the mixture with, some measuring spoons, a pastry blender or a pair of butter knives, a pie pan, and a baking mat or some clean surface where you can roll out the dough. So we'll start by adding the flour, 2.5 cups. We'll add a half teaspoon of salt to it. And mix those two together. Next we'll add 3/4 cup of shortening. And this is where that pastry blender comes in. If you don't have one, just take 2 knives and work the mixture until it's sort of a coarse mixture. Next we'll add the cold water. Start by adding a teaspoon of cold water. And then we'll keep mixing. And another. Add the teaspoons of cold water one at a time because we want the dough to be sticky enough that it holds together, but not so much that it's all sticky. About at 4 teaspoons worth now. Starting to hold together. We'll add a couple more. Now that that's all together, we'll clean the space to roll out our dough. Now the dough we have should be enough for both the bottom crust and the top crust. So first off, we're going to divide the dough in half. This will be our bottom crust. Once the bottom pie crust is all rolled out, we'll transfer it to our pie pan. Next, we'll get started on the top pie crust. Once the top pie crust is rolled out, cut a few slits in the top where the air can escape. Then we'll set all of this aside and start working on the filling. We'll take a cup of sugar. We'll add in a half teaspoon of salt. Next we'll add a teaspoon of cinnamon and a half teaspoon of nutmeg. And last of all, 1.5 tablespoons of flour. Next, we'll peel and core the apples and then put them into the rest of the mixture. If you don't have an apple core at home, just take a regular kitchen knife and chop your apples into wedges. Now it's time to combine the filling and the pie crust. Once the pie is together, put it in the oven for 10 minutes at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we'll drop the temperature down to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake it for an additional 30 to 40 minutes. One thing I forgot to mention is before you put on that top crust, that's where we'll introduce the 2 tablespoons of butter. Just chop it up into small bits and spread it over the top of all the apple. And there we have our finished pie. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video. Totally.